I just realized this is the least Harry Potter outfit I could have chosen in the history of magic. Maybe I should just add this. Does this fix it? Disappear, disappear, disappear.
No! God, please, no!
Nothing happened? My wand is not working. Welcome back to Torn Apart. Today we're going to be talking about Harry Potter. We're going to be celebrating the 20th anniversary since the release of the first film.
You're a wizard, Harry, for fuck's sake, listen to me!
And I didn't want to talk about Fantastic Beasts, mostly because it's both hated and kind of okay-ish, depending on who you talk to when it comes to Harry Potter fans. Today I wanted to talk about a specific fan film that was adapting the 6th book, so the Half-Blood Prince, and a specific chapter on the House of Gaunt, which is specifically referring to Voldemort's family and origins. So I wanted to go into something a bit different, and I wanted to talk about fan films, and specifically about a French film called The House of Gaunt Voldemort's Origins, which just came out a couple of months ago and is actually available on Vimeo for just another week. And by the way, I will be putting the link down below so you can check it out before it disappears forever. I thought it would be interesting to start this video by reading you some passages from the book so that you can get into the mood of the book itself, and then we will move to the adaptation and my review of it. Let's take out my beautiful copy of Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince. I have underlined a couple of passages from the book itself because I didn't want to be reading the entire chapter. Funny enough, I completely forgot about this passage. I remember that there was a passage specifically talking about why Voldemort's locket, his Horcrux, was so important to him, but I forgot that there was actually so much detail in the book itself. Harry Potter and Dumbledore are at Hogwarts in the office, and they are looking at memories through the Pensieve, and this is what happens. Good morning. I'm from the Ministry of Magic. You're not welcome. I'm sorry, I don't understand you, said Ogden nervously. You understand me, I'm sure, Harry. Yes, of course. Why can't Ogden? He's speaking Parseltongue. Very good. Now look, Ogden began, but too late. There was a bang, and Ogden was on the ground, clutching his nose while a nasty yellowish goo squirted from between his fingers. Ministry, is it? Said the older man, looking down at Ogden. Correct, said Ogden angrily, dabbing his face. And you, I take it, are Mr. Gaunt. That's right, said Gaunt. Got you in the face, did he? Yes, he did, snapped Ogden. Should have made your presence known, shouldn't you? Said Gaunt aggressively. This is private property. Can't just walk in here and not expect my son to defend himself. Defend himself against what, man? Said Ogden, clambering back to his feet. Busybodies, intruders, muggles, and filth. It's your son I'm here to see, Mr. Gaunt. Are you pure blood? That's neither here nor there, said Ogden coldly. Apparently Gaunt felt rather differently. He squinted into Ogden's face and muttered, in what was clearly supposed to be an offensive tone, Now I come to think about it, I've seen noses like yours down in the village. I don't doubt it if your son's been let loose on them. Perhaps we could continue this discussion inside? Inside? Yes, Mr. Gaunt. I've already told you, I'm here about Morphin. We sent an owl. I have no use for owls. I don't open letters. Well, Mr. Gaunt, to get straight to the point, we have reason to believe that you saw Morphin perform magic in front of a muggle late last night. There was a deafening clank. Merope had dropped one of the pots. "Pick it up!" Gaunt bellowed at her. "That's it! Grub on the floor like some filthy muggle! What's your wand for, you useless suck of muck?" "Morphin has broken wizarding law." "Morphin has broken wizarding law. He taught a filthy muggle a lesson. That's illegal now, is it?" "Yes, I'm afraid it is." "What's that then? His sentence?" "It is a summons to the ministry for a hearing." "Summons? Summons? You think we're scum, do you? Scum who'll come running when the ministry tells him to. Do you know who you're talking to, you filthy little mudblood, do you? See this? See this? Know what it is? Know where it came from? Centuries it's been in our family. That's how far back we go. And pure blood all the way. Know how much I've been offered for this? With the pearl coat of arms engraved on the stone? See this?" He bellowed at Ogden, shaking a heavy gold locket at him. "Slytherins! Salazar Slytherins! We're his last living descendants. What do you say to that, huh? Don't you go talking to us as if we're dirt on your shoes. Generations of pure bloods, wizards are more than you can say, I don't doubt." "Mr. Gaunt, I'm afraid that neither your ancestors nor mine have anything to do with the matter in hand. I'm here because of Morphin." "Tom," said the girl's voice again, now so close they were clearly right beside the house. "I might be wrong, but has somebody nailed a snake to the door?" "Good Lord, you're right," said the man's voice. "That would be the son. I told you he's not right in the head. Don't look at it, Cecilia, darling." "What's that? What did you say, Morphin? She likes looking at that muggle. Always in the garden when he passes. Peering through the edge at him, isn't she? And last night, hanging out of the window waiting for him to ride home, wasn't she? Hanging out of the window to look at a muggle. You disgusting little squib, you filthy little blood traitor!" roared Gaunt, losing control, and his hands closed around his daughter's throat. Ogden raised his wand and cried, "Relatio!" Gaunt was thrown backwards away from his daughter. He tripped over a chair and fell flat on his back. With a roar of rage, Morphin leapt out of his chair and ran at Ogden, brandishing his bloody knife and firing axes indiscriminately from his wand. Ogden ran for his life. "So Merope was... Sir, does that mean she was Voldemort's mother?" "It does. And it so happens that we also had a glimpse of Voldemort's father. I wonder whether you noticed. The muggle Morphin attacked, the man on the horse." "Very good indeed. Yes, that was Tom Riddle Senior, the handsome muggle who used to go riding past the Gaunt cottage and for whom Merope Gaunt cherished a secret, burning passion. Once Merville and Morphin were safely in Azkaban, once she was alone and free for the first time in her life, then I'm sure she was able to give full rein to her abilities and to plot her escape from the desperate life she had led for 18 years. Sir, is it important to know all this about Voldemort's past?" "Very important, I think. And it's got something to do with the prophecy. It has everything to do with the prophecy." "Sir," said Harry, staring at it, "that ring." "Yes? You were wearing it when we visited Professor Slughorn that night." "So I was. But isn't it, sir, isn't it the same ring Merville Gaunt showed Ogden?" "The very same." That is it when it comes to the chapter on the House of Gaunt. Of course, there are a lot more dialogues, a lot more details in this chapter, and I tried to make it as short as possible to give you like a little snippet of what the mood is.
Open fire! Avada Kedavra!
David Yates needs to hire all of these people for the next Wizarding World films now. House of Gaunt has perfect casting, excellent special effects, and it's probably the best attempt at creating a believable international HP universe. And I'm saying this mostly because in the short film they actually exploited the fact that it is based in Europe, so of course you wouldn't only have British wizards, you would also have other wizards coming from other ministries of magic, right? And there is actually one of the wizards who speaks fluently French, and it was such a nice representation because when you think back to the HP universe, for such an incredible, huge universe, even in the fourth film, we do get the weird French accent when they're speaking English, and we sort of get some weird Eastern European accent as well when it comes to Viktor Krum. But it doesn't really go that deep, and they didn't really put a lot of effort into creating this sense of there is a bigger world outside the one that we know, and that was a bit of a shame. And I actually liked this little wink that they put in the short film because it's a French film at the end of the day. The way that I've been exploring it in Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them is not necessarily the best way of doing it, because at the end of the day, do we really care about American wizards? No. We mostly care about European wizards because those are the magic schools which have existed for the longest time, so they have the most amount of history and connection to the things that we know. I also really appreciate the fact that it relies on creating the tone and mood of an HP film instead of drowning us under a pile of exposition. Yeah, this is something that I really liked about this short film, is that it gives you enough information to understand exactly what we're doing and what we're talking about without actually telling us too many things, and it is very action based, and there is a long scene of dialogue and they both work perfectly.
Who are you?
I gave it 4 stars just because there were a couple of line deliveries which ended up feeling a little stilted, and the ADR mixings wasn't really perfect in the last act. And when I'm talking about the ADR mixing, of course I'm talking about people moving their mouth, and the sound that came out of them wasn't exactly perfectly synced. I mean, sound design is incredibly important when you're working on short films, or when you're working on fan films, or any kind of low budget film.
We're gonna skate to one song only. Lady Hump by the Black Eyed Peas. What you gonna do with all that junk inside my trunk?
If sound design is done poorly, you immediately realize it. It takes you out of the film almost instantly. And that's actually what happened in just a couple of scenes where I felt like they should have added a lot more ambient noise and complex sound design. The fan film House of Gaunt Voldemort Origin was directed by Joris Faucon-Grimaud, and it's a short film that has been in production for the last 4 years. And it's an incredible journey when it comes to the production of this short film, and I thought it would be interesting to share a couple of secrets that I got to find out while looking through different interviews that he gave for different YouTube channels and magazines. For example, I got to learn that he was, of course, a huge fan of the books themselves, and he wanted to prove what he could accomplish with just simply a strong fan base and a lot of passion. The hardest thing when it came to creating this short film was to find some sort of consistency from the actors and from the entire team as well working on it, because they of course been working on it for the last 3 years, and it was always a couple of days in one location, a couple of days in another location, and then full on 18 months just of post-production where 6 people worked on the special effects. And I will admit that the special effects are incredible when it comes to this fan film, and of course when it came to my review I uploaded the special effects because they 100% reminded me of the best scenes from Harry Potter, specifically the fight scenes in Order of the Phoenix. And I feel like the fight scenes when it comes to the spell casting have never been as good as in that film, and they really explored that in this short film. And of course the director cited Order of the Phoenix as one of his major influences when it comes to the visual look of this film, but actually David Yates' entire visual personality was put into this short film. When it comes to fan films, it's really all about the passion, and it's really all about the kind of like guerrilla filmmaking. So I'm really interested in finding out different shooting and production stories about how they managed to get specific shots. All the scenes that were shot in the woods, for example, they had a really hard time shooting those scenes because of the weathercast, because they had a lot of power outages, and because they were constantly attacked by mosquitoes, for example. He spent just the first year casting for his short film and looking through international and French actors for the different roles. And actually the actor who is playing Voldemort, so Maxence, when he came to the audition, he had an incredibly awful French accent when he spoke in English, and he had to go through an entire year of coaching so that he could actually sound like Voldemort and sound like someone who would be part of the Harry Potter universe. But something that I found incredibly interesting is that the director chose him just because of a simple look that he had in his eyes, and the actor himself, Maxence, said that he did that on purpose, and that he had an entire acting class where they taught him how to express an emotion, how to express specific character trait just through someone's eyes. Something that I really appreciate about this film is the action and specifically the choreography, and I was actually quite impressed to find out that they didn't actually hire a specialized choreographers. They just had one stunt person who was there for safety reasons, and then the director himself actually choreographed all the different spell casting fights, and they simply look incredible. When it comes to the scenes that were shot in the Lestrange Manor, they actually shot it in the castle of Fontainebleau. During that day, actually, they had more than 160 people on set, and at some point they were afraid that they actually scratched a very important Napoleon time floor, and everyone was starting to freak out because they thought that they literally like destroyed a piece of history. But lucky enough for them, it actually didn't happen, and it was something that could be easily tweaked and cleaned. I really enjoyed those scenes, mostly because it's something that we didn't really get to see in the Harry Potter cinematic universe, besides maybe in the fourth film, so the Goblet of Fire, where we get to meet all of these other schools or these other international wizards, and we kind of get that very almost like gothic style of wizards and of masked balls and other things like that. And of course the director cited Eyes Wide Shut when it comes to a visual reference for that particular scene. When it comes to the final scene as well that you see in the short film, there were other problems with the weathercast as well. And there is a scene where they were shooting a baby and they had so little time to actually shoot that sequence. They had literally 30 minutes to shoot everything at the end of the day, and they actually managed to do it. But when it comes to shooting the baby, they just pointed the camera at the baby for 3 minutes, hoping that something would happen and something good would come out of it. And at the end of the day, it actually happened. And the shot is really beautiful, and it really works, and it connects everything together, going from the origins of Voldemort to the very start of Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone.
The hours and the ministry will fall.
You've been a good and faithful servant, Severus. But only I can live forever.
My lord.
The film was funded largely with two crowdfunding campaigns, one with Kiss Kiss Bang Bang and the other one with Ulul, and the final production budget of the film was of 62,000 euros, which is actually incredibly low for the incredible look that we got. I really recommend this film. That's exactly why I wanted to make this video, because I wanted to experiment and I wanted to experience new things within the Harry Potter universe. There are actually other short films that have gathered a lot of following on YouTube. There is the Sisters of House Black short film, which has gathered 15 million views, for example, and there is another short film about Voldemort's origin, which is called Voldemort Origins of the Year, and that has gathered also 17 million views. If you'd be interested in me actually comparing all these three films and trying to figure out which one is the better interpretation of the HP universe, let me know in the comments. But something that I really liked from this experience is realizing that there are so many incredible fan films out there, and that at this point in history it is so easy for people just to go on YouTube and to learn things about special effects, to learn things about screenwriting, and it's so easy to gather people around the passion of filmmaking nowadays, because before it was just blogs, before maybe it was just Facebook. Right now there are literally websites and apps of passionate people who are looking for other passionate people to join for a project, to develop a specific project, and I really like that. In these days there is literally a fan film for anything. There is a fan film dedicated to the movie Johnny Mnemonic.
The year is 2021.
Do you remember that film as like a cult film with a huge following? No, not really. But someone actually made a fan film out of it, and it's incredible. It's just incredible to see like what can be done when you have a strong fan base. And I think that people in the industry sometimes they get lost in the numbers, they get lost in the big ideas, in the big projects, and at the end of the day they don't really end up telling an interesting and fun story. And I'm glad to see that nowadays fans are onto that shit, and they will tell the story that needs to be heard before the studios can. I really hope that you enjoyed this video. I will put down in the link the film House of Gaunt Voldemort's Origins if you want to check it out, because I'm pretty sure that by the end of the week it will not be available on streaming anymore. It's on Vimeo, it's not on YouTube, by the way. If you're a Potterhead, let me know in the comments. Let me know also if you celebrated the 20-year anniversary of Harry Potter in any kind of way possible. I hope that I'm not the only one who does marathons every single year, that I'm not just a weirdo.
I'm a weirdo.
Patrick, can you shut the fuck up?
Next week it will be the anniversary of this channel. It will be finally 1 year of me on YouTube. So stay tuned next week for a couple of cool surprises. I'm Patrick, and this is Torn Apart. 1, 2, 3, Ferraverto.
This is not negotiable! You come with me, you specky, bull haircut, fuck, small dick, skinny cunt, eat more wanger!
Da 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 da.